Manchester City make it through to the playoff stages of the Champions League. They were down 1-0 at halftime, but fought back valiantly. Arsenal get an away win in Spain, which is rare for them. 4 wins on the bounce in the Champions League. And Aston Villa, a thrilling game to qualify in the top 8, along with Arsenal and Liverpool. All that and much more on the Full Fan Highlight Show. Let's go! An excellent night of Champions League football. And I was waiting before I went live. I wanted to see what happened with Barcelona and Atalanta, because, of course, that had an implication for Aston Villa. Congratulations, by the way, to Lille, who have made it into the top 8. And I really do love this new format. What we can actually put up on the screen for you now is the final standings in the Champions League. Liverpool top on 21 points, although they did lose tonight, but a very heavily rotated side. I didn't watch the game, to be fair. We'll have Mike on soon to talk to us about that. Barcelona came in second, only pipping Arsenal on goal difference, both on 19 points. So a fantastic campaign so far for Arsenal. And the first time, by the way, I didn't know this, first time since they reached the final of the Champions League that Arsenal have won 4 Champions League games on the bounce, which is an interesting stat I didn't know. Inter Milan then come in also on 19 points in 4th. Atletico on 19 points. And then Bayer Leverkusen, Lille, and Aston Villa, all, as you can see, in the top 8. They will not have to play the playoff round, which is massive. Absolutely massive for all of those teams. It really is. It means they get some time off. And Arsenal were doing this. I'm sure others will. You can take this sort of 10-day break for Arsenal because they're out of the FA Cup. I'm not too sure what the other clubs' leagues look like, but listen, those midweek games where everyone else is fighting to get through to the last round of 16, those sides have already made it. If you also look at Manchester City, as we mentioned tonight, they made it in 22nd place, as you can see here, but they did make it. There they are on 11 points. In the second half, I actually thought they looked really good. Still a bit vulnerable on that counter-attack, but very good. Brest made it after a very good start in this tournament. They're going to be in those playoff places. They are the seeded teams you can see, though. Atalanta, Dortmund, Madrid, Bayern Munich, Milan, PSV, Paris Saint-Germain after 3 wins on the bounce for them, and Benfica, who won again tonight. They will go up against the following sides that are unseeded. So Monaco, Brest, Feyenoord, Juve, Celtic, Man City, Sporting, and Club Brugge. We could actually see Madrid versus Man City, I believe, as an example. We could have a brilliant playoff round of games. It's going to be intriguing to see who goes through. But so far, I've thoroughly enjoyed the new Champions League format so far. And some of that is coupled with teams like Madrid, teams like City underperforming. I'm going to start with Man City tonight, though. And I want to say this about them. I thought they were very poor in the first half. I thought Pep Guardiola got his system wrong, team wrong. Not enough speed, not enough pace. It was very easy for Club Brugge to sit in, be compact, play together, and be hard to break down. And they're very dangerous on the counter-attack. They nearly scored 3 or 4 minutes in, and they did then take the lead at the end of the first half. But then Pep made the change. As soon as he brought on Savinho, whatever we're going to go with, they injected that pace. They had a player in the wide positions who could genuinely beat a man. And I felt it kind of put Club Brugge on the back foot. They were looking more panicked. They suddenly weren't as compact. And the tactical change really paid dividends. Loads of chances for City. Good goal from Kovacic. Then an own goal. A brilliant piece of football for Savinho to make it 3-1. And that is all she wrote. They're through. And now, if City do continue to improve, if City do go on to do very well in this tournament, nobody will ever remember the group stage or the league phase, as it's called now. They got themselves through. My only real criticism of City, barring Pep getting it wrong in the first half, would be they still concede so many chances on the counter-attack. Who genuinely concede goals on the counter attack, which I think is. Oh, I'd be worried, especially when it comes. You're playing Arsenal this weekend as an example. You're going to have tough games in this tournament. Still very easy to counter through City, which is very weird, strange as to why Chelsea sat off and had no intensity the other day. If they played with the intensity Club Brugge did with better players, they might have won. Very strange decision. But listen, congratulations to City. Still a lot, I think, for Pep to ponder. He was fuming on the sidelines, even at 3-1, screaming at his players every time Club Brugge are able to counter. But that all being said, that City are through. The league phase is behind them. The banter is over. They go again. They go again in the knockout stages. I'm not too sure. You guys probably know in the chat already when the next round is. Let us know. I've got a comment here I want to go to, actually, that says, wait, there are actually idiots in the chat that are trying to banter Liverpool. That's how you know we've been thirsty. Listen, I know Liverpool lost. I didn't have the game on. I've got 5 screens in my office, and I didn't have that game on because it was a complete dead rubber to me. I'm a United fan. They lost. Yeah. There was someone who got sent off for them I've never heard of. Right? I don't even know who the man is. I keep saying like there's banter and then there's dead banter. There's banter and then there is dead banter. And that is certainly dead banter when it comes to Liverpool. On Arsenal tonight, again, they weren't mathematically certain of a top 6 finish, but based on probability and all the teams below them getting better results, scoring loads of goals, them conceding loads, it was done. What I didn't realize about Arsenal until the commentator said it is that in their last 10 away games in Spain, Arsenal have only won one of them. Terrible record away from home in Spain. A lot of control early on in the game, but then conceded a really silly goal. Offside trap caught out. I don't know what the hell Neto was doing. He's outside his box. I get where he was standing, because that's where goalkeepers stand nowadays. Then he rushes out, panics, and he tries to save it, and he's about 4 yards out of the box. And I'm watching it thinking, nah, he didn't just do that. Dan Juma is a bum. He's a bum. And he scored maybe the easiest Champions League goal of his life. But you have to credit Arsenal with their comeback. They increased the intensity. Obviously, for them, a slight dead rubber, an opportunity to play some of the fringe players. By the way, Kivior, not good enough for your club. Got to go in the summer. Raheem Sterling, put on the left this time. Another stink fest. Stinky performance from him, missing a penalty at the end. But Odegaard played well. The midfield moved the ball quickly. And then you've got Nwaneri on the right, who we'll talk about in a moment. Arsenal get a penalty pretty quickly after conceding. And yes, it was a penalty. I know a few people on the TL were like, there was no contact. It was an absolute penalty. And it was dispatched well, of course, by Jorginho. And then Nwaneri, that had already been playing well. This young man is very, very special indeed. And the exciting thing for me is that he plays for England. So hopefully this continues. But his goal was out of this world. And I read a stat during the game that this season he scores a goal every 99 minutes. He's 17 years of age. I understand. Oh, he might be 18 years of age now. I might have got that wrong. I went by what the tweet said. He might be a year older than that. And it might only be 17. Anyway, you guys will tell me in the comment. 17, 18. It's not the point here. Sensational away. First start in the Champions League, away from home in a country where Arsenal typically fail. And he stepped up tonight. His winning goal in the end was an absolute thing of beauty. And I would say to Arsenal fans, don't be advocating for this kid to start every game week in, week out. He's far too young. You don't want to burn him out too early. You should be asking for experience to come in. But you've got to, if you nurture this kid well over the next 2 to 3 years, what a goddamn baller. What a goddamn baller this young man could be. I thought he was majestic tonight. I really, really did. His performance outshone everybody on the pitch. And at 17, 18 years of age, that's a phenomenal feat. It really, really is a phenomenal feat. So, yes, absolutely. By the way, Blue Viper, Europa League standard club, Trafford United. The problem is with you, Blue Viper, and this is why I'm mentioning you now, But I had a lot of time, and you used to be a member of the Terrace. You don't have to continue to be. We always got on. But do you know why I lost respect for you? Because every time City don't win, you don't show up. And that's weakness for me, bro. But whenever you do, or another team loses, you're here with the banter. And I just think I don't have a lot of time for people that can give it but can't take it when it comes to banter. And I'm sorry, Blue Viper, but vipers are snakes, and snakes are deadly, and they're. But actually, maybe you are a viper because you're like a grass in the, you're like a snake in the grass, which is not a compliment, by the way. Maybe that's what it is. Show up when your team loses as well, and take the heat the way you like to give it, my friend. Come on. Oh, James is saying it's going to be City versus Madrid or Bayern. Wow, if that's true, I'm going to trust you on this, James. What an amazing fixture that would be. But yes, for Arsenal, look, comfortable performance, 4 wins on the bounce in the tournament. First time they've done it since they made the final in 2006. That is a good omen. I know that Arsenal fans are not particularly in a great space at this particular moment, especially with the Ollie Watkins news. And that, the secret scout who broke the news said that personal terms are agreed, or in his words, wouldn't be a problem. But it very much looks like Villa are going to sell Duran to Saudi. I think I'm annoyed at Duran for that. Great, go earn your bag, go get your money. But I just think, why are you leaving European football at such a young age? I'm a bit annoyed at him for that. Nothing to do with the Arsenal deal, of course. But it looks like the Ollie Watkins deal probably won't happen unless there's a quirk and a change, and Villa actually say, great, we'll get that done. So I know Arsenal fans may be feeling a little bit dejected. There was a little bit of a damp squib and didn't matter too much. But I think you've got to take the positives. 4 wins on the bounce in the competition for the first time in nearly 20 years. You've got a young player that was shining tonight. Good little run out in the legs for a lot of your fringe players. A lot of players rested before the big game against City at the weekend. So not a bad night in the office for Arsenal. I want to give a quick shout out as well to Aston Villa. I love their game. It was brilliant. Morgan Rogers, hat-trick in the tournament. And he's the fastest player ever to score a brace in the Champions League game. 2 goals in 5 minutes, and they were very, very good. Celtic fought back well. I want to say as well, shout out to Schmeichel in goal. The saves that man pulled off. But it had everything that game, barring a red card. It had everything. Watkins scores the winner. And then he did a David Beckham penalty where the ground, sort of a David Beckham penalty where the ground comes out from underneath him. I actually thought he had to retake it, though, because I heard a rule that if you kick the ball against your own foot, it used to be if you get a double touch, it was retaken. Maybe they've changed it. If your double touch means you miss. I don't know that law in detail. So if anybody does, share it. But well done to Villa in that top 8 as well. Fantastic campaign for them as a club after so many years away from this tournament. So let's go to some of your comments that have come through here. I'm just going to timestamp, and then we're going to bring out Mike and Hassam and Nathan to have their say this evening. Villa need to sell Bailey. Totally useless. Other than when he plays Man United. When he plays Man United, he's always brilliant, that kid. Always brilliant. I'm at peace till yet another year of no Arsenal Champions League Cup. Arsenal didn't get knocked out tonight, Dyke. They're not my favourites to win it, but they're not out. They're not out of it. I don't explain what you mean. I'm confused. Only pissed because we drew the rules PSG out of the 15 to 18. Right, okay, I get what you mean, Omar. I get what you mean. Jed said Nwaneri is a star. He certainly is a star. Mr. Feldman here says City play both Bayern and Madrid. Draw shows who's first. They play them both. So I don't get what you mean. Okay, is the draw out already? Is that would have been done? No. That ain't. Oh, hang on. Right. Okay. Player. Okay, it is out here. So I'm going to have to bear with me a second because I just need to see it for myself. I'm very sorry. It isn't like out, but it's there. So it says City came in what position? 22nd. So there is like a format here that says if you came 22nd. So playoff 21 versus 22, play 11 versus 12. So who is 11 and 12? Okay. I still don't quite get why that's formulated that way. Okay, so they're going to play one of those two anyway. Okay, sweet. And then they'll play the team that came 5th. The winner of all of that will play the team that came 5th or 6th. I assume that's something to do with the country that people are from. Who came 5th and 6th? So Bayer Leverkusen, so it could be Bayer Leverkusen or Ati versus City or Bayern Munich, I suppose. But then that won't happen either, because maybe you can play whoever's in it. I don't know why it's done that way. I'm not going to bother read while I'm live on the air. Arsenal came 3rd. So who did it look like Arsenal were going to get? Just looking here. They can get the team. They say they can get the team that come 13th or 14th, 20th or 19th. Yeah, it's convoluted. I'll wait till it all comes up on my screen. And it tells me exactly who they're going to play. That'll make it make a lot more sense to me. But there we go. Jay here says, happy with the win, but I never want to see Moreno and Sterling dare to wear the jersey disgracefully worn by Henry, Bergkamp, Adams, and Wright again. Horrific from the beginning to the end. Odegaard needs to score. Yeah, I thought he was going to take the penalty, to be fair. Pep's legacy was on the line in that second half. I don't think his legacy was on the line. I wouldn't personally go that far. Great managers have gone. I mean, look, this is the first time this format has taken place, and what they end up on 11 points. I've seen teams go out of the Champions League on 10, 11 points in 6 games. So to have 11 points after 8 games is crazily low. Probably one of the lowest points totals of any kind of top level champion in the Champions League. But I don't think legacy was on the line. But listen, fair play if you think so. Thank you, Luke, for encouraging people to hit that like button. Please get that done if you haven't done so already. It means a great deal to the terrace if you could. City versus Madrid in the playoff round. Yeah, I just want to know when that's actually going to be officially made. Surely it's just computerized. They must be able to computerize and know straight away. When is it? Hang on, what does it say here? Champions League knockout phase draw. Where is it? When is it? Okay. Okay. So the draw is going to happen on Friday. Okay. So there's actually a draw that comes out. So sweet. So that we don't exactly know who's going to get who yet. But okay. Sweet. Half of those teams in the playoffs beat City currently. Well, this is true. And City is still very beatable, I think, even though they won tonight. Atalanta, my underdogs, bro, quarterfinals or semis. Yeah, they look kind of made for this. And don't write off Aston Villa as well. Aston Villa just sank about on this season. I don't think they'll win it. But when Wales got to the semi-final of the Euros, that's the kind of feeling that I have about Aston Villa this year as well. This whole tournament feels like one for an underdog, maybe. Well, maybe, anyway. Dyke, so drunk on hate, he thought Arsenal were out. Yeah, I don't quite get it. If you don't think they're going to win it, fair enough. But you can't sit there and relax until they're actually out, right? Or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Right, time to bring out a small panel for you guys tonight. Do you know what I was thinking this before I bring the boys out? Sorry. I was thinking this earlier. I was like, tonight could just be an average night on the terrace, which is great. I love seeing you all. Or it could be historic. But obviously, those 3 goals in the second half change things massively. So there we go. Okay, who we got? We got Hussam, we got Mike, we got Nathan. Well, welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are you all?
Good. Great. Top of this whole thing. I'm calm.
Yeah,
good, man.
I am going to ask you a little bit about Liverpool later, but I'm sure like the rest of us, you were focusing a bit more on other games that had a bit more kind of riding on them as well.
No, I was not.
You tell me you didn't watch. Fuck off.
No.
You just watched Liverpool. Just Liverpool.
Yeah,
tonight.
but I didn't watch along. I swear.
Oh, you have just proven that you'll be shit at a party. That is so boring. Just one that you only watched the one game that had nothing riding on it. You watched.
Brother, I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't care about none of this other shit. I don't care if we were playing Celtic in a friendly today, I would have watched it. Come on, man.
Oh my days.
Club over football always. Club over everything. Come on.
Okay, all right, cool. I'll come back to you in a minute then. Nathan, what did you make tonight? What was your thoughts on the performance from Arsenal away in Spain?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good performance, to be fair, in terms of we rotated the squad. I think the likes of Kivior, Calafiori, Jorginho came in, Sterling started. So, and Girona they've got a small stadium. I watched their game against Liverpool. They made it difficult. They defended numbers, low block. So to go there and having gone down, I mean, Neto is. I think I spoke about the signing of Neto to begin with originally and how it seems like Arteta never wanted him to begin with, and we could see that from the first goal. I mean, he's a no man's land, and the fact that he even attempts a dive is comedic in itself. Yeah, it was horrible. Partey at right back. I mean, we've talked about that many times. He shouldn't be played there, and it's a bit frustrating because it's one of the few positions in our squad where we're actually quite stacked in. I mean, when the numbers are there, you've got 4 or 5 players that can play there. You've got, Tomiyasu, Ben White, Timber, and unfortunately, we've just been hit with injury. So Partey's playing there, and obviously he got caught out for the first goal. But again, I mean, he redeemed himself by winning back the penalty. Jorginho coolly slotting, and then obviously Ethan Nwaneri, coming in and showing his quality. I mean, the kid is real quality. I mean, he plays with a level of maturity that you don't really expect from a 17-year-old. He's really calm, composed. Doesn't force passes. Got a bit of flair. Technically he's sound, and that goal was outstandingly taken, and it was beautifully struck shot, and it's a quality that we lack in this Arsenal team. We haven't got many players that can strike the ball from outside the box and give teams danger. We're a team that tried to walk the ball into net almost, and maybe barring Saka and occasionally Trossard, there's no one that's really willing to pop a shot, and it's just refreshing to see. I thought Sterling today. I mean, I came on here a few weeks back. Last week actually, when we had our Champions League game, and I'm not in any way saying Sterling's the answer because he's not. But I talked about platforming players and putting them in the best conditions to shine. And I thought he was a lot better on the left-hand side than he is on the right-hand side. And today we saw a bit more of something. I think throughout his time at Arsenal, I don't think we've seen anything of note from Sterling. And today he was a bit more unpredictable. He's a bit more of a handful. He was running at players. He was cutting in. He was cutting out. He was cutting inside, going down the byline. And, it was just a shame that the penalty miss at the end was kind of like a sour end to what was a quite positive performance for him, in my opinion. I thought Calafiori is growing in confidence. I mean, I love the way he takes the ball and just runs into midfield. I think he's got a real confidence about him in terms of carrying that ball. And it's a quality that you need in teams. You need players that are brave on the ball, that are willing to kind of that will kind of help break down lower mid blocks, because it draws players to you. It means they can't stay in that formation, so to speak. They've got to kind of come out to the ball, and it opens up positions. And it was nice to see. And all in all, man, I thought it was a controlled professional performance. The football looked better, looked a lot more fluid, and it's all about results at this stage of the season. And to take that into the City game is massive, and especially with the side being rotated. And all in all, good performance.
By the way, while you were talking, because I saw your note in the comments, I now get what the
format
the format looks like. I get what so there is a draw, but it's the draw which one of those. So it is right about City that it will either be Real Madrid or Bayern Munich for them. That's basically it. So I get it now. So someone just sent me something and I read it really quickly while you were talking. I'm like, that's actually quite cool. And you said with Arsenal, it's going to be Milan, PSV, Feyenoord or Juve. And again, I think that's a good draw. Like for you, I know that PSV have caused a few teams problems this year. Feyenoord, Juve, like out of all the teams you could get, you should be quite not overlooking them, but confident of getting through and into the quarterfinals. Really.
Yeah, 100%. I think you've got to be confident when you look at the teams that you could play. I mean, we could be in a situation like a City where you're forced to play, Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. I mean, looking at those lineups, they're quite favourable. I think on paper, Feyenoord looks like the easiest one, but in fact, I probably think at this moment of time, it's probably the most difficult. I think they've given teams more of a difficult run at the moment in terms of performances wise. I mean, Juventus have looked quite shoddy this season. Milan are a bit of an iffy team.
That's the most difficult one out of them.
I'm not saying.
As an Arsenal fan, you want to know why? Because you know your club more than me. You find it really difficult to break down low blocks, and Juventus is about to play a low block from hell. So you're gonna really struggle in that right there. Counter-attack football that they play is gonna be a problem for you.
But do you think Thiago Motta is more of a progressive coach. So had this been maybe an Allegri, a more Italian coach, I'd probably be a lot more worried in regards to Juventus. But
He's a
being at
progressive
Celtic-
coach, but he showed his versatility against Man City. He's willing to park the bus when need be. Like, I'm telling you from now, that's going to be like facing Atletico. I'm not even exaggerating. I didn't want them for my own club either. I didn't want to face Juve because Juve is going to be difficult always for anyone. You know, you go to that stadium as well, right there in Italy, you know, 80,000, you know, Juventus fans. It's that game is not going to be easy right there. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well. Looking at it now, say whatever team Arsenal gets, say they get through that and then they get themselves into the quarterfinals. Looking at the draw, if they make the quarterfinals, Arsenal, and say if the best current teams in the league format are the ones that make it to that stage, it's either going to be Atleti or Bayer Leverkusen. So, in terms of by the time you get to the quarterfinals, the best two teams possible that Arsenal can play is Atleti and Bayer Leverkusen. And Atleti, listen, that's very hard. Diego Simeone, that team, that club, that manager is so well versed in this tournament. Bayer Leverkusen, very good team, but I found them at times in Europe to be quite naive. So, look, I'm by no means overlooking anyone that Arsenal can play. I don't believe in doing that. But it shows that coming third could be beneficial to Arsenal, which is why I like this format, because it feels like typically the higher up you finish, the harder you try to win. You know, for Arsenal at least, it shows a decent run potentially to a quarterfinal or a semi-final, but obviously a long way to go.
And it's a reward for kind of, and it's you know, you're rewarded for your endeavors in the league, isn't it, so to speak. So, you know, had we faltered, we would have been matched up with more difficult teams, and you know, those ties are more favorable. So it's almost You know?
Well, again, you look at Liverpool. Liverpool will play one of Paris Saint-Germain, Benfica, Monaco, or Brest. So PSG, that's where the format though throws in a curveball, because PSG underperformed and Liverpool could end up having the last 16 against PSG as an example, who are
Timbers.
Yeah, but it's a tougher game. But it's a tougher game than playing PSV, Benfica, final, or Celtic. Like
I'm not worried about. Listen, this is what I was worried about at the start of this match day. Bayern Munich and Real Madrid were possibilities. They're no longer possibilities. PSG don't worry me at all. I'm good with PSG. Give me PSG. We're through. Like I have no problem with PSG whatsoever. I don't see them as a threat. I don't care that they beat Man City. Everyone's beating Man City this season, so that's not really like something to be intimidated of. And at the end of the day, I see us beating them, to be honest with you. But regardless, from our perspective, look, today's game. And you know, I'm gonna say this, Nathan, but please don't get rattled or annoyed. I have to say it. I have to express myself. You know, when I looked at the Arsenal lineup, I was like, why is he playing so many serious players? You're like through, guaranteed, you know, in the top 8 and stuff. I thought you're gonna be heavily rotated as well, considering you have City this Sunday. So I thought he's gonna go all out, like just kids. And Slot did that as well for us. He went kids and whichever French players don't play as much. You know, like that's basically what he went. So he went with like the Chiesas of the world and the Endos of the world. But I think at the end of the day, look, we lose today. We lose 3-2. So it's not like we got embarrassed or humiliated or something. We did lose, but I'm not really upset or mad or like annoyed or anything, because we literally played a bunch of children. I mean, the guy that got sent off, no one in the chat ever heard of him before. Like Nalo, you get me?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Liverpool's result and game, I think,
meaningless.
It's beyond meaningless. It might as well have been a friendly.
Actually, I would say that the silver lining is that now we don't have to worry about being undefeated. Like we don't have to have this, stupid mental thing of saying, "Oh, but we were perfect. Can't lose now. Losing is going to suck even more," because maybe you could be the first team to ever not lose a game for the whole Champions League. We can just throw that out the window.
City's done that.
It's completely meaningless. No, I know. I'm talking about in this new format, because now there's two extra. Because City didn't have to play 8 group stage games, which is 2 extra games on top of all of it. So, if anything, if you were to go undefeated in this one, I think that would be far more impressive.
Also, guys, when me and Mike speak in this conversation, we obviously have a lot of European heritage. Lille beat Feyenoord like 4-1 or 5-1 today.
6?
Yeah, 6, even worse. Nathan is worried about Feyenoord, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of worried about Juventus. He's worried about Feyenoord.
For me, Juventus have been underperforming. That's what it is.
Nathan, I've been in your place before. Trust me, just accept it. Just accept it.
No, listen, I'm more looking at, if this was Juventus of old, I'd be extremely worried. But Juventus are not the same institution that they have been. It's like Milan. It's like AC Milan are not the same Milan from the years where they had Seedorf.
Yeah, but I'd
Maldini.
still rather play Lille over Milan, even if they're different.
No, you'd rather play Lille. You don't want to play Lille. Milan or not?
I'd rather
Lille's
play
actually,
Lille.
Lille's actually.
I think based on right now, Liverpool, if Liverpool were to go through in the round of 16, I think that Lille is one of the potential opponents for the quarterfinals.
Yeah. It will be Lille or Aston Villa in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
If the highest ranked teams get through the last 16.
Of course,
yes,
100%.
Yeah. But essentially, they're the highest ranked teams you could potentially get in the
7 and 8
finals. Which, again, Liverpool are still the favourites, whether they play Lille or Aston Villa. However, I've watched a bit of Lille this season. They look tasty, and I know you're not worried, Hassam. One, because you have your Liverpool and this heritage. Two, you personally have an air of arrogance that is if you could bottle it and sell it, you'd be a billionaire inside 3 minutes. So that's why, like, I think most.
But then you can ask me a question.
We also just beat Lille too.
Okay,
so.
there's an easy question to solve this. Hussam, which teams are you worried about? I'll tell you what about Real Madrid, Inter Milan, and Manchester City. Those 3 teams I don't want to face in the Champions League. Anyone else, I'm calm.
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico, I always hate, but you know what? You could actually include Atletico.
Okay. Yeah,
I go Atletico. Yeah, I'd say these 4 teams I'd hate facing. Atletico and Inter, because I think those are the 2 best defensive sides from like a low block perspective in the whole tournament.
Yeah,
I would hate to face them.
You just said Atletico has conceded 12 goals in the Champions League. How can we sit there and say that they're one of the best defensive teams in Europe right now?
Let me speak. I don't speak with calculators. I speak with different energy.
Okay,
so when it comes to Atletico and when it comes to Inter Milan in the knockout stages, they're capable of parking the bus like no other. Mike, you're smarter than this.
Hold on.
I
I got you. What's 12 minus 5? That's that difference of 7. What's 12 minus 1?
Rayman's here.
A difference of 11. Okay, copy that.
Because it's like
I didn't realize I needed a calculator to do
for the defense
in the knockout stages. It's a different competition. That's my point.
Yeah, but do you have the same personnel, Sam, like defensively? Because
okay, guys, Diego Simeone is offensive and he's easy to beat. Don't worry about it.
No, it's not.
Bro, like, what we're saying is there's not. I don't think there's going to be a vast difference in the performance, our defensive performances from the group stage to the knockout stage. Yes, they're going to become more tight. They're going to be more compact. But if you're comparing Atletico's defense, but hold on, man. Sure.
More tight, more compact.
Hold on, brother. Wait.
Let me speak, man.
If you're gonna compare the difference, let's say from Inter to Atletico, that's a complete. They're vastly different in terms of how good they are defensively. Inter, I can understand you saying, "Oh, they're gonna be a low block from hell," which I can understand that, and especially with how Inzaghi coaches, I can see that. Simeone, yes, they can become more compact. They can become more tight. However, it's not going to be this vast difference from what we see in the group stage. That's what I believe. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm an Arsenal fan, so we don't have this heritage. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I can still watch football with my eyes, and I don't think the difference is going to be that stark from the group stage going into the knockout stage. But again, we will see. Time will tell. You will either be right or we will be wrong. It doesn't matter. But I don't think it's going to be that different. I understand why you will say, though, based on heritage, that they're one of the teams that you just don't want to face.
But I'm not talking about.
I understand
that. Atletico have 0 Champions Leagues. I'm saying,
but they've been there and done that. They've been to 3 finals
in the past years. Give me 30 seconds. I'll mute my mic.
Right, no problem.
This is my logic. As soon as the knockout stages start, the competition becomes completely different. Directly, the moment there's knockout stages, because the jeopardy levels are completely different. One mistake could cost you to get knocked out of the whole thing. So when I mention Atletico, I don't care how many goals they've conceded in the group stages, because I know that in the knockout stages, Diego Simeone is going to be in his villain arc. He's going to have his players doing all the dirty tactics that they've learned over the last 8, 9, 10 years, and they're going to have a low block. That's why I mentioned them. With Inter, even if they conceded 10 goals in the group stage, I would have kept the same energy. I don't care if they conceded 1, 2, or 0 right now. So those 2 clubs, Real Madrid, Real Madrid are in the playoffs. But why did I mention that I'm worried about them? It's because in the knockout stages, they have game changers. Same with Man City. I mentioned Man City, by the way. They have game changers.
Can I rebut that, though? Because I'll explain this, yeah? I'm looking at personnel. So when we look at Man City at this moment, when you look at their midfield, I don't know why you'd be worried, Man City, when you see how teams, Club Brugge today, were opening up Man City left, right, and centre. right? So we've seen Man City being run through that middle of that pitch and being exploited. They don't have the personnel to deal with that. Defensively, they don't have the personnel. The manager can set teams up. I know Diego Simeone is one of the masters of defending, and he can set the team up in a defensive structure and create and put down a nasty low block. But they're not the same personnel-wise Atletico of years ago who could maybe orchestrate that to the highest. And that's why I'm a bit surprised when you say you're surprised of City, when you're scared of City, because you ran through City this season. And then when you watch that Chelsea game, Chelsea should have really done their thing with them. So I'm a bit confused as to why you'd be worried about City. Yes, they've got Haaland, they've got KDB, they've got players that can create moments, but where you also have that. So that's an equalizer. But when you look at where they can be
defenders, Nottingham Forest or Atletico Madrid?
Who has better defenders?
What's your point?
Yeah.
Atletico, right?
Right.
What's your point?
If we struggle twice to break down a Nottingham Forest low block, I have the right to be worried of Atletico Madrid low block.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. Given their Champions League experience.
Listen, look, I think what you're saying holds water, Hassam. But what we can't ignore is performances still, because you look at City. City did very, very well tonight. We'll go to V in a minute. They won the game. They had to get it done tonight. Had jeopardy in it. So you spoke about jeopardy being different. Tonight was a knockout game essentially for them. But still, and I know every City fan, when they calm down and when they stop celebrating, will still go, Club Brugge broke through us. Still, for a team of City's level, Club Brugge broke through them and had so many good chances to score. I still don't think any City fans looking at this going, I'm really confident we can win the Champions League. So if most City fans are not feeling confident they can win the Champions League, my kind of question to you, again, maybe City fans do feel confident. If you do, great, fair enough. If they're not confident they can win it, that's where I would challenge you on why are you like overly worried about playing them. By the time those games come, say you meet them in that, you probably can't meet them until the semi-finals or even the final potentially. Let's say you can't meet them till then. Let's say, I don't know, from the end of Feb until the semi-final, no one's running through him anymore. No one is. Then fair enough. Then I'd expect you to say yes. But there's nothing about City's performances, even in these games recently that they've won, that I think that you as a Liverpool fan should look at and go, I'm really worried about playing them. That's not a dig at City.
That's the heart of the
champion. But hang on, but this is different. So you here are going polar extremes. I'm not saying don't underestimate anyone in this. You underestimate any team in knockout stages, you're going out. What I'm saying is there's a difference between underestimating and you being worried. I think as a Liverpool fan, there's only a handful of teams in this that you should be sitting again. Oh, I'm really worried about this game.
Well, there's actually a whole nother point here. Because if I did the calculations correct, the Vator, hold on, because I'm not here to talk about City, because this has to do with Liverpool.
No. So I heard calculations and it may be good.
Trust me. Every time I get the opportunity to say calculator in front of Hussam, I make sure to do so. But
embrace it.
Regardless, in the week leading up to the Premier League matchup between Liverpool and City at the Etihad, Liverpool are going to have that midweek off, and City potentially will play either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. So regardless of who City have to play, you still have to, like, the interesting thing about this format of the Champions League is that you still have to put it in the context of the Premier League for that first round. Like those top 8 teams have such a clear advantage, right? And so if City have to play Real Madrid, all of a sudden that game against us becomes 1,000 times more difficult. And then it becomes a question of, okay, how do I balance this? Am I just going to bin, that game against Liverpool and basically say to myself, okay, hopefully we can get a result, but Real Madrid is more important. How is Pep gonna maneuver his way through that sort of, competitive edge that Liverpool now have? Because, you are only 12 points back without the game in hand. We're not going to sit here and act like a team has never made up a difference. That's not to say that we're going to fall off, but that's a very big component in this round of 32.
To counter your argument, I think that would be a detriment to almost any team except that one team that you're calling it for. Because remember, they've always mentioned, even as fans, they said, when it comes down to this end of the season, for them, sometimes a lot of games helps them get into the groove, helps them get into, get into gear, and they can start the train going. I would understand if it were us. I would understand if it were other teams that aren't quite blessed with that championship pedigree and the mentality aspect. Now, granted, yes, I think they're older. I think physically they're not as good anymore. However, I think when it comes down to the mental side of it, I think when it comes down to preparing, when it comes down to the business end, as much as we might hate it, they got it, man. It's they just have players that know it, and of course, the manager is the manager.
Yeah.
Now, if they can get some of those young players to buy in, to get it a little bit quicker than usual, then I think we're gonna see not peak City, but we're gonna see a good enough City to navigate those extra games that we said that we would try to avoid. So they're the one team. I'm not doubting them. It's like Madrid in the Champions League. I'm
I
not
hear you.
when you say I'm
Yeah.
not worried about whether they're gonna make it far or not. That's Madrid. That's their
And by the
trophy.
way, I even agree with what Mike is saying, because what Mike mentioned has nothing to do with calculators. That's actually what I say, which is momentum, which is having a lot of fixtures. That's not calculations. That's reality. Mike is 100% correct. Having to play Madrid before us and after us, or Bayern Munich before us and after us, will make their Premier League game difficult. This does not change what I said about the Champions League. Look, if Manchester City, let's say for the sake of argument, by the time they play whoever in the Champions League, let's say they go through, okay, by the time they play whoever in the Champions League, they might be out of the title race completely. Let's say they're 15 points behind or 18 points behind. Then the only thing significant they have to fight for is the Champions League. And the good thing for them is to win a Champions League. And Mike, man, you both know this. You need difference makers. You need players on the pitch who can do something out of nothing. Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, whoever it is. So these players can make the difference for them. Yeah, they can make the difference for them in the big moments. Even a Marmoush could make a difference for them in a moment here or there. So when it comes to Terry's argument, I'm not even debating what Terry's saying. I've only mentioned 4 teams that I'm worried about playing. Literally anyone else in this competition, I'm calm whoever we draw.
Atalanta?
Of course.
Thank you to Atalanta, though, because Atalanta's the reason why we're top. So big up Atalanta.
I hear you on that. We're going to come back to talking about who we think might win it a little bit later. I've got a few comments I want to go to as well that I'm going to read first, and I'm going to go to V to break down City tonight. Jan says, Nwaneri, what a footballer, what a performance. The next big thing. Did not know he was this good of a player. Tevin, when you see that, do you think it's important though to not start overplaying him at 17?
100%, 100%. It's why we've been calling for him to start either on the right wing, whatever. In my opinion, it was always let's take our time and bet this guy in, simply because we see the quality, we know how good he is. But to start relying on him in the pressurized environment that is Arsenal right now, let him play football, let him enjoy the game, and not have to worry about the pressure as yet. Let him grow as a footballer, as I'm growing to a man, as a player, before start worrying about the mental side of it. And we already see the quality. We already see the shot he has, the close control, the movement. He is an elite talent. But on the mental side of it, we don't need to pressure this guy. We don't need to have another Fabregas on our hands where he turned around and he was like, this is too much. We don't need to have another Saka where he starts breaking down physically. Let's bet. Skelly's the same thing.
You are spot on. And do you know what's really interesting? People often go, Wayne Rooney was that. When Man United bought Wayne Rooney, actually, if you look at his early years at Everton, he wasn't playing week in, week out as a starter. And when he came to Man United, he was starting games. But he was the big young star. But that team had Gary Neville and Rio Ferdinand and Ruud van Nistelrooy, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs. He wasn't the star. I think the worst
supplement.
Yeah, he was. And that's what Nwaneri should be. He should be part of the attack and part of that group. But I think one thing Arsenal fans should be pushing for your club to do, yourself should do it, but your club is use him regularly but sparingly at the same time. So have him in most matchday squads, coming on from the bench, starting here, starting there. The whole idea of our next season, let's get him starting 40, 50 games. I just feel that might be, especially if you would go out. I mean, look, the news has just come out that Duran is here we go. I'm actually so annoyed at Duran going to Saudi. He'll get great money and fair play. I just think so young to be leaving European football. And I don't mean that
more of a reason. Isn't that more of a reason? Don't you think? Isn't that more of a reason to do it while you're young and then you have
no?
Actually, you know what? Think real quick. Nothing's guaranteed in football or life, right?
Correct.
What if you want to secure yourself financially very early?
I understand that. I understand. So financially, like I said, financially, boom. However, the level of football over there is low compared
Yeah.
to 90% of the top European leagues.
Yeah.
You might find that he doesn't develop now and reach his full potential as a football player. You know, if for instance, if Nwaneri now went and played football for the next 4 years in League One in England, he would be a very different player to staying in the Premier League or going to League R or going to La Liga, because it's about what you play against. It's, you know, like it's sharpening each other.
I think the mistake we're making, just the thing, we're under the assumption that he cares about that. A lot of people that have come from certain countries, certain continents, right?
That not enough clubs went for him.
What their number one concern is their family, is setting up their futures financially secure for the rest of their life. You know, like
go get your bag.
It's probably just a job, you know, and he doesn't care where he kicks ball. I mean, as fans, we're all passionate about being the best. We want our players to have that level of ambition. But you know, if you look at it as just a job, then this you go to where you're paid the most. You know,
No, I respect that opinion, and I always have done, and I understand it. I really do.
I agree with you on a footballing level. I agree.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by this young man. And the thing is, I know that there's a lot of pushing and a lot of marketing and PR around the Saudi league. It's everywhere. But let's all be honest, how many people are watching it? Who knows? Other than you, Steve, but you watch every game of football. It's not getting the eyes. It'll be a player that in 18 months everyone will go, "Oh, I remember him," and I feel sad about it. I thought I was annoyed from a footballing point of view when Oscar went to China, and it's like, we never saw him again. So yeah, you know, there's a little bit of that. V,
Ruben Neves as well.
Yeah, Ruben
Terry.
Neves. V,
Terry,
you did it. You did it.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Hey. I've been enjoying a lot of the fan reaction channels that have been popping up. You know, when you do it yourself, when you compile some of the content creators and their reactions to goals. It's going to be fun watching the celebration of some of these rivals when that first goal happens, which we tend to do. City tend to give up that first goal often. I mean, we didn't do it in 3 minutes like we did versus Chelsea, but we did do it at a very inopportune time in this game. And I thought it meant we were going to have to dig deep and get this result, because there was no way we were going to embarrass ourselves and not make it out. There was absolutely no way. I know the downfall was wished upon from all of you rivals, because I know you don't want to see us.
Funny.
As poor as we've been, you still don't want to see us in this Champions League. But I'm so happy of these guys. I'm so happy of the adjustment that Pep made. And who's to say that the manager's supposed to get it right all the time, right? I think he did make an error having Gundo on there. I think he made a mistake because we didn't have the pace in the midfield. We also didn't have the movement when we were in the final third. We had tons of possession, but no one's really moving, creating opportunities. Him making that change for Savinho, brilliant. And Savinho is going to be a beast in this league. Just give him some more time. Also, if there's ever going to be a monsters mentality, if there's ever going to be an example of you fight, you represent your club, the badge, it's us. Look at this. We're poor all year long. We've been surrendering goals. It was nervy the entire time, but we fought this game out. And I'm so proud of Savinho. I'm so happy with Gavardio. Again, I think he's outscoring many strikers in the Prem with his 5 goals this season. But Gavardio shows his quality again. He put that ball across, made an opportunity out of nothing, really. And to close out the game, absolutely great. Now, I'm going to celebrate this. Yes, I should. Every City fan's going to celebrate.
I don't think.
Exactly. Now, am I going to go nuts and being like, we're winning the Champions League? No, I didn't even do that in my treble winning season. I was like, one game at a time. Let's progress. We got a lot to fix. I don't know.
By the way, I never said City are winning the Champions League. I said I'm just worried about facing them. That's it.
Shit.
No, that's fair. You're right too. Everybody on this panel should be fearful of facing Manchester City, regardless of what form we're in. This is a knockout, right? We're now in the knockouts. So you shouldn't want to face us. We're going to have a dangerous game upcoming, whether it's going to be Bayern or Real Madrid. So we'll have to deal with that when the time happens. But I'm going from beating the Pride of London to now advancing within Champions League. And now next, I got the club that pushed me the last 2 seasons to try and get a result in Arsenal next. So, hey, credit to these guys. Pep's continuing to figure out what he can and cannot do with this squad. And we move.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that.
I gotta shoot.
Cheers, Tevin. Thanks for jumping on, bro. Diogo7 here says, any thoughts on Aston Villa's possible opponents being Sporting, Bruges, Dortmund, or Atalanta? Yeah, look, they've done very, very well, Villa. They're one of the dark horses in this for me. I think their fans are proud. I don't subscribe to Standard FC. I think they should be in a celebratory mood today because most didn't put them in. No one put them in the top 8 at the start. Probably the low end of the qualification levels people would have put them into, and they've super exceeded expectations so far. And look, they're going to lose. The thing is, they're losing John Duran, and that's the big thing. Duran's going to go unless, and if he doesn't, then they're going to lose Ollie Watkins to Arsenal, and that's the sad bit for Villa. Is they're going to 99% sure it's going to be Duran. But if they don't, then Watkins might go. And it's who they're now in the next few days replacing with, because he was key to them getting enough points to be in the top 8, Duran. 2 or 3 winners early on in the competition. Yes. So, yeah, big miss for them. Big miss.
Terry, quick question. Have you considered who's going to replace Spurs in your top 6 panels?
No. Newcastle.
Okay.
Newcastle.
Right. Just one.
It's kind of it doesn't kind of work like that. It's we already have Newcastle fans that come on as an example. We probably could do with getting some Villa fans on, because it's about fighting to be in that space, and every year there's a fight. So it's not so much about like if you're in it one year, you're out of it. It's about
no. I just mean like consistently having a.
We have like 2 or 3 consistent Newcastle fans that come on the shows. Including Steve's one of them. We have Pete. We have Phil. So there's already Newcastle fans involved.
I was gonna say, Terry, it's turned into top 6 to a top 8, and Tottenham are in the bracket with Aston Villa and Newcastle.
Yeah. I mean, it's just turned into teams fighting to be in those top European positions, if that makes sense. That's kind of the concept for me, and it's there. We just we'll get people on from different clubs at different time. I mean, Villa, they're in the Champions League, but they're 8th at the moment, so it depends how you want to look at it.
Did I miss Husam's rant on Robertson?
No, I didn't rant.
We haven't spoken about any of that.
Why would anyone rant about Andrew Robertson?
Yeah, we're top. I'm through first place. I don't need to rant.
He didn't even have a bad game.
Yeah. I said before that game, looking at the last, I said PSV should be very disappointed if they lose, considering they have something to play for, and Liverpool straight up don't.
I mean, and they have the referee to thank.
They done what's expected. Bakayoko, by the way, that goal, where he sat down to Liverpool. Oh, my Lord.
I'm going to watch the highlights later. I'm looking forward to that one. I've got to jump to some of these super chats before I come back to you guys. This says we should terminate Sterling's loan right away. And Cal also said, I disagree. I think he was talking to you, Nathan, earlier. I disagree. Watching Sterling was torture to watch. He holds the ball for too long, dribbles into players, and passes back when isolated 1-on-1. Yeah. I didn't deserve a booking for the dive, though. He actually made contact. I didn't think it was a dive. Straight waffling. Juve just lost at home today to Benfica, and they do not park the bus. Beating City this season doesn't make you scary. You don't watch. Is what
I've already explained myself, JB, but as per usual, people have comprehension issues. I said that they're going to be more difficult for the better teams. As in, if you play a City or an Arsenal or a Liverpool, I would want to face them because they are capable of having a low block in a very defensive situation, and you're going to struggle to score against them. I'm not talking about Juventus versus the weaker side where they have to attack. I'm talking about versus the stronger side where they have to defend. Hope you understand it now. If you don't, send me your email. I'll email it to you more specific so you can understand.
Oh, wow.
Top Somali cities. That is an interesting username. Yeah, it's not good, bad, and different. It's just an interesting name. Maybe he reviews them. That would make sense. Maybe he's got a YouTube channel. He's from Canada as well. So he says here today, Inter destroyed Monaco. Fuzza Inter.
They're my pick to win the UCL still, by the way.
Inter, you're gambling Inter.
Yes, they're my preseason.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that in a second. Hussam mentioning he's not pissed off twice without being asked shows he's really pissed off because of the 100% win streak.
No one cares. No one cares.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve as well. If I'm pissed off, I can't hide it anyway.
Hussam, let me take you down to memory lane. AC Milan beat Deportivo 4-1 in 2003 and got knocked out in the second leg. Please keep your powder dry, is what Marco says here.
Let me take you down memory lane. Monaco, Lyon, Spurs, Liverpool, who finished 4th. I can take you down real bad memory lane. Chelsea, when you had no DMs, you let Havertz score in Champions League final. So, yeah, big up, though.
Even if we finish third, useless. Useless. We need to sign a proper striker. We cannot go deep into the Champions League. Havertz is running on fumes. Yeah, I certainly think you need to buy someone. I mean, the bid's gone in for the money's there. You bid for Watkins today, so listen, you literally bid about £10 million below Eucharist's release clause. Go activate it. The money's there. There's no excuse now for Arsenal, in my personal opinion. Barcelona, AC Milan, Stuttgart all run through Real Madrid. So by your logic, Real can't win the Champions League.
This is a response to you, by the way.
But this isn't the point that people are making. So when I gave last week my list of sort of my top 5 favorites from this point, Madrid was still in it. However, if you go back to that season a few years ago where Madrid beat Liverpool in the final, you actually watch all of those games. Liverpool in the final, when they played City. No, they played City. They played City. I'm Real Madrid. So they played Chelsea. They played City. I want to say they played PSG. I can't remember who they in around the 16. Every single one of those teams should have put Real Madrid to bed. And some will say it's heritage, and they did hang in there and they nicked these goals, but they should have been put to bed. The point is, when you play Real Madrid, of course they can win. But I think if you're a good team defensively and you're good on the counter and you've got a good attack, I don't think you should. I don't think you should be petrified of Real Madrid. So look at the language here. Scared of them. I don't think Liverpool should be scared of Real Madrid. Should they be cautious? Should they play to the best of their ability? Yes. Does it mean I'm writing them off? No. I think there's a difference in the language here. And I think I want to be very specific so you don't think I'm writing Real Madrid off. But for me right now, I look at Liverpool, I look at Inter Milan, and I just think to myself, they've got more of a chance. They're the two teams I have above Real Madrid. Real Madrid come in third because of what they're able to do, the firepower they have, as an example.
I see what you're doing, Terry. You're policing the scary brand. That's what you're doing.
Have you seen the bracket? And
we're going to come back to that in a minute. Egal. No, listen, there's a little bit of me policing that, but it's more to do language is really, really important, because sometimes you'll say, "Oh, I'm a little fearful of that team." Terry's scared of them. No, I'm a little fearful because they've got a good attacker, or it's just I'm not writing Real Madrid off in any capacity. But what you shouldn't ever do is write off a team's performances. Writing off a team's performances in your analysis is crazy, in my opinion. If it's a one-off game, maybe not. But remember, these are 2 legs, home and away. The analysis and performances is important. Grealish has never made an impact like Savio did. That's not true.
Grealish was very good when they won the treble.
Grealish literally helped win you guys the league. He won the game versus West Ham by himself.
It was a major part, though. Duran has a 5.5-year contract. He will earn wages equivalent of 10 years in Europe. This is very true. I understand that bit. Question for all. If Barca face Liverpool this season, who would prevail maybe in the Champions League final?
Liverpool. You have to consider Flick has won the thing before.
I think Liverpool are better defensively.
Yeah.
It's just because we're better defensively.
Hang on a minute. Why are we ignoring their heritage and looking at their performances defensively? This is crazy. That we're doing
one-off.
I never even mentioned heritage.
I'd favorite Liverpool, but
hang on, Sam. I'm not talking about you specifically. It's not all about you. I'm talking about people that say never write Real Madrid off because of their heritage. I'm just saying, Barca have got a pretty good Champions League heritage, but we're looking at their performances and leaky defense, and we're holding it against them. I would love.
They have kids. They have kids throughout their team. So
but again, Egal, you've come late, right? We were talking earlier about different teams, and people are saying Ati have leaked goals so far in the Champions League, but everyone's saying knockout stages, that will change. I'm making a flippant joke of a comment to say certain teams we're saying the knockouts will change them. With Barca, we're saying, it doesn't mean anything. So I'm just interested in that. That's all.
I think defensively, Barca can get got at in comparison to Liverpool. I think Liverpool are a lot more sturdy in defence and also threat offensively. So I think Liverpool would definitely be favourites walking into that game for me.
Also, Inter are probably the best defense. They only conceded 1 goal in 8 games. Nuts.
It's great. I mean, this is like the Premier League. This is Liverpool's to lose. Liverpool, the best team in Europe, the best defense. Did it at Canto. It's Liverpool's to lose. They are the outright favourites. Outright favourites.
Own it.
No major injuries either.
You guys are so silly, I swear.
Outright favourites.
No, but Hussam, why can't you just own up and just be like, yeah, we are.
Future Ballon d'Or in Mo Salah.
You can say, I'll leave that to you.
I'll give you the Premier League. I'll give you the Premier League favorites, but I don't believe in favorites in Europe. I just
Some
I
didn't
don't.
even believe in favorites
Wait,
in Premier
what do
League.
you mean you don't believe favorites in Europe?
Real
Then
Madrid
why do betting
exists.
sites? Wait, why do betting sites have?
because Vegas has lines. People like to bet.
You
People
don't
spend
think
money.
that this should be a thing?
So when you say you don't believe in favorites, so you believe that
No,
Lille
hold
will
on.
have as good a chance as Madrid?
I don't view a favorite in a league table the same way I view a favorite in a Champions League table. Like I don't believe in the token of the favorites in Europe the same that I would say the Premier League, which is why I said you can say that we're favorites to win the Premier League. I'm fine with that statement. I've got no issue. I will own that. But in Europe, anything can happen. We've seen favorites get knocked out time and time again.
Mike,
You
absolutely.
can still be favorites and be knocked out. It's happened.
Yeah. You can be how can you say the favorites could be knocked out, but you don't believe in favorites?
What I'm saying is that I don't give the same weight to that statement in Europe that I do in a league.
Yeah, we get that. But your favorites in Europe, your favorites in England. Your
Yeah, but I mean,
favorites
listen, seed-wise,
Liverpool
factually
favorites in
speaking,
the Prem, not the UCL. That's what.
league-wise, factually speaking, yes, you are correct, but I just don't believe in the sentiment of that argument in Europe.
Let's remove that sentiment for a second then, and play. Where would you put Liverpool in terms? If you're going to list the favorites to win the Champions League, where are you putting Liverpool right now? What position? First, second, third, fourth?
I would say that the three teams that are the most likely to win this Champions League would be Inter, would be Liverpool, and would be Real Madrid. Now, based on those three, well, listen, but again, I think that any of those three teams can win. I think that anything is possible in terms of the format and the table per se.
Yes.
So couldn't that be said for any cup competition? Though, like I don't understand. Like, that can be said about any cup competition, right?
Yeah, Mike's saying a lot of nothing.
Any team can win, right? It's not a league, so the function of it is going to be the format of it is going to be different. So
there's no more draw.
Mike has mastered the art of saying a lot of nothing.
No, Vader, I'm not doing political jargon. I'm not doing political jargon. This isn't filibuster.
You did a proper Joe Biden when you went, I don't believe in favorites because the favorites can be knocked out.
But all I'm trying to say is that I don't put the same validity to the idea of a number one seed in a Champions League format.
One second. You do realize you are now one of the teams with the easiest route to the final. You are going to be potentially playing either Monaco, Brest, PSG, or Benfica in the round of 16, and then in the round in the quarterfinals, you could potentially face either Aston Villa, Lille, Dortmund, Atlanta, Sporting, or Club Brugge. You are basically almost if you play the same way you played this season, you're going to be going to the semifinals where you face your first big team.
Well, not big team, but like a team on a similar level.
Yeah, I get Egal's point, but it's not even about that. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Mike, that you don't see one team as the outright favorites. I can't see anybody else winning it, like sometimes in a league table halfway through a season. That I agree with, because form changes and the tournament spread out over a long time. That I agree with. But when we look at the league campaign so far, the quality of these teams, what those teams have done in the last 2 or 3 years, because for instance, most of Real Madrid's squad is still together, and you could argue they've added more to it. I think it's fair to say, Liverpool, I would put the three you mentioned are my three top favorites in no particular order at the moment of who I think will go on to win it. I just look at Liverpool and I'm looking at every game you've played this season, and barring you having a bad couple of nights where you then lose, I view as my marginal favorites. But as you say, anything can happen on the night. You could go into a game, get a man sent off and concede a penalty in 5 minutes and lose 3-0 and you're out, basically. So, of course, these things happen. Let's have a look at a few more super chats before I go to the panel again. Terry, if you ignore Charity Shields, then Villa have more trophies than Spurs, 20 versus 11, contender for the top 6. No, Villa are massive. Sam is gone now, but he said, you said Juve would hurt Arsenal because they beat City. Then 5 minutes later, you said PSG beating City isn't a flex. They aren't scary, waffler. I didn't even hear that, but fair play. Liverpool have been heritage in the Champions League with 6 compared to 5 of Barca. I hear you. Liverpool always try to make themselves underdogs.
That's not. No. See, now,
it is a fact, though.
Don't go gaslighting.
But it is a fact.
I was not making us to say
I agree.
that we are underdogs.
Doing it, but
Sam was doing it.
Liverpool fans do it.
We're definitely not underdogs, but to say outright favorite, I think, is a little bit disingenuous to the other top teams of Europe. That's all.
Can I jump in on this?
Yeah, of course you can, Egal. Go on.
I was just gonna say, with the whole Liverpool stuff, you guys are favorites to win the Champions League. You guys are favorites to win the Premier League. You guys are playing the best in Europe, probably. So embrace it, and I like the fact that you've embraced it. As for Arsenal's game today, Terry, can I talk about that now? Or
Yeah. Go for it, bro. Go for it.
Ethan is special. This kid is special. At the age of 17, he's already 2 goal contributions off Cesc Fabregas's total when he was 17. He's developing quite quickly already, and his first Premier League start. His first Premier League start, if I'm not mistaken, he scored. If I'm not mistaken, he scored in his first start for Arsenal in the League Cup, and a brace actually. And now he scored a goal in his first Champions League start. This guy is scoring goals. He's contributing. He's helping up the pitch, and he's giving confidence to a lot of young kids that are special, also wanting to sign for Arsenal, because the Norwegian wonder kid wants to sign for Arsenal. It's between Arsenal and Girona. If he sees that, he should see Mazu, Skelly, and Ethan and be like, "Hey, I'm good enough. I'm going to get myself into this team." And it is very, very positive signs. As for Neto. I'm somebody who's going to give people a break sometimes, but Neto, he's not played all season. But that guy, from his first chance to save a goal, he's outside of the box and he's trying to save a goal and actually try to dive for the ball outside of the box. That right there should have been termination if he got a red card and got sent off from there, because he's a cup keeper who doesn't play in the cups, and there's a reason why. He's not good enough to play in these cup games. We weren't going to win anything if he's playing. So fair play to Arteta to play Raya for majority of the season, and now I understand why he played Raya. Calafiori and Gabriel Magalhaes might be our best finishers at the club, and their defenders. What else is there? I feel sorry for Raheem Sterling. I thought he had a relatively decent game, and to miss the penalty, it wasn't even a bad penalty, and Jorginho should have taken the penalty versus Manchester United in the FA Cup at home, not Martin Odegaard. That guy's a world-class penalty taker, and yeah, pretty much confident in the team playing versus Man City now in the league, because if Man City look this vulnerable, we should be able to take advantage of them at home. And we now look ahead to the next game. And Mikel Arteta, in his last 100 games, only 13 defeats. So I'm very confident.
Yeah, look, you're listen. I actually think it wasn't like a scintillating performance from yourselves tonight, because there wasn't a lot riding on the game. Considering the rotation, I thought Arsenal did quite well. And yeah, I think you should have a level of confidence going into this City game. Not arrogance, not complacency, but I think you should have, because City is still, and I know City fans hate hearing it, everybody's able to run through them. It's whether or not you capitalize on that. And the one thing you have to your advantage compared to Chelsea at the weekend is that defensively you're typically a lot better and a lot more solid. So I'm really excited about that game, to be fair with you. Hamza,
one more thing?
Yeah, go on, mate, go on.
There was people, Terry, when the league phase came out saying, "Oh, Arsenal, somehow they're going to get knocked out," making jokes about Arsenal. Now, 8 games, 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. I think we've earned a little bit of respect from some of the people that
you did good. You did better than I thought. Yes. Yeah, I'll admit that 100%.
Third in the Champions League is no joke.
That's impressive. Yeah. Well done.
Anyways, Terry, take it away.
Yeah, Hamza, obviously an important win for your boys tonight, especially ahead of a massive game against Arsenal at the weekend.
Yeah, man. Everyone was telling us that Club Brugge are 19 games unbeaten. We should be scared. La 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 la. Everyone was hyping up this 19 games unbeaten.
They gave you a scare, though, didn't they? They gave you a good game. Come on.
No, I've never. I'll tell you one thing. Something I have, like, if you're better, if you got heritage and you got that kind of like respect in the Champions League, you have to keep your respect. Today was a must-win game. It's no jokes. I never said if we get knocked out. There was no way I would have accepted we get knocked out. No way. Terry, I'm telling you, there's no way I would ever accept it. And to me, everyone was saying Club Brugge. I think they played well. Yeah. But that's how the mentality we had, the character we had to come back and cover Chich. I feel sorry we've been playing them every 3 days. He showed why he's one of the best midfielders in the world. Like, he literally dominated that midfield today. And he scored when we needed him in the Champions League Wednesday night. He scored a crucial goal. And you know, shameless to Bruges, obviously they just wanted to counter-attack us, and they're a very good team. Because I'll tell you one thing, yeah, they would have knocked out a lot of teams out. And to me, they had pacey wingers.
Zolas.
The one that they had 8, he had 6 goals. And to me, today, City Pep showed that he brought Savio on, who changed the game completely different. Put Ford in the middle, and everything changed. And we had that lack going on our side. We could have scored more goals. De Bruyne had a chance. Haaland had a chance. But listen, everyone wanted to see his downfall. And shame on all of you who wanted to see his downfall. There's no way how we were going to get knocked out in group stages in the Champions League. Pep Guardiola's got heritage. We don't get knocked out in the Champions League in the group stage.
When you say there's no way, though, I did think you'd win tonight, to be fair. When you said there was no way, okay, you were an own goal away from problematic times. And this is what I would say to you, right? Be a little bit more humble. You've had an horrendous Champions League campaign so far. You got through it tonight. I know you sort of complimented Club Brugge a little bit. For a team that also finished below you, which shows their level, they had you on the ropes a few times in that game. And for me, celebrate going through to the next round. But I think this is a time for City fans to be more humble. I think this is a time for City fans to realize that there's a lot of work over the next couple of years that needs to be done to make you a formidable force again. You've got firepower up front, and that's like a boxer with great knockout power. So you'll be able to beat a lot of teams still. But the thing that I praised Pep for the most in the last 8 years was how hard these teams were to break down, how difficult they were to counter-attack against. The fact is now, barring Ipswich and Salford, even in the games you've won recently, it could have gone the other way. It could have gone the other way with better finishing. So as much as you should celebrate winning tonight and staying in the tournament, I would say a little bit of humble pie is still needed, my friend.
Listen, I'm not saying Club Brugge are that bad, but to me, I'm not disrespecting Club Brugge to say Man City is one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Like, if you name the Champions League, it's Real Madrid, Man City. First two names that comes out your mouth is, no, you're laughing, but 100%. Etihad is an intimidating stadium. There's no way I'm losing to Club Brugge. There's no way in my mind I would have accepted that. I would never have accepted that. I'm sorry. I don't lower my standards. You're right. Terry,
hang on a minute. Hang on. So you having high standards, sitting at home watching the game, didn't make Club Brugge miss 3 or 4 counterattacks. That was their lack of quality. Because
but that's what great teams do.
They're Club Brugge.
But the problem is there's teams like
so how did your standards put you in this position in the first place? How did your standards make Pep only win 1 game in 13?
What about Real Madrid?
Hang on, whoa, where were your standards then?
Yeah, 1 second. Real Madrid and the playoff with me.
I don't want to care about Real Madrid. I'm talking about you. You have always got high standards. If high standards won you the game tonight, where were your high standards that put when you got put in this position?
Completely. Sometimes, listen, at the end of the day, I'll tell you one thing, Terry, and you can search that. It's Mike Tyson lost a boxing game against a guy called Tyson Douglas, whatever, Buster Douglas. It happens. Right? A great fight can lose a match. You can. City were very naive this season, and you're right. The injuries, but it's a squad number. The midfield, the engine, but they're gonna get it right, Terry. Terry, I ain't gonna go down easy. There's no way, even if I get Madrid or Bayern, yeah, we ain't going because Omar Marmoush is coming to this side.
Who you going down on easy? What?
Huh?
Yeah,
we ain't gonna give Real Madrid an easy walk all over. I'm telling you now. They know Man City is a tough game.
Do you think? Where would you rank yourselves in terms of favourites from first to the last? Out of all the teams left in it, where do you rank yourself in terms of favourites to win it from this point, Hamza?
To me, I think Liverpool. I've got heritage. I respect a club with heritage. Yeah, Real Madrid are favourites. I think Bayern Munich are favourites, and me and Inter Milan. Okay. Only clubs that have got heritage.
Can I ask you a question then? Hang on, sorry, Nathan, 1 sec. Can I ask you a question? You say you only respect teams with heritage. Does that mean until you did the treble, you didn't even respect your own football club?
No. In Europe, I used to say I'm an underdog. I used to say I'm not a big club until I won the UCL. Until I got that UCL, and
but you didn't respect your club because you didn't have heritage.
I respect teams that have got Europe. You know, Liverpool. I have in Europe. I respect Liverpool. Anfield Knights.
So you don't respect Bayer Leverkusen because they haven't won the Champions League.
I don't respect Arsenal in the Champions League.
Oh, I didn't mention Arsenal. Do you respect Bayer Leverkusen?
Bayer Leverkusen. they're a good team, but they haven't got that heritage. in
Do
the
you
Champions
do you respect?
I respect every team, mate.
Atletico Madrid.
Basically, what you're saying is you say what you say just so you can have a pop at Arsenal, innit? That's it.
Yeah, that club to me is a Champions League. Atletico are dirty. To me, today it showed one thing about Man City. Despite our season, and us Liverpool fans, they know they cannot say they've won the league. Yeah, a lot of Liverpool fans, and I'll ask the Liverpool fan, he doesn't believe he was won the league because you know why? Because City are behind him. I will get my signings. I'm gonna get a right back. I might get a midfielder, and I'll turn up in the Bernabeu or Allianz Arena. If we are ready with Marmoush, I'm not scared anymore. I've got Marmoush.
This is the most shameless amount of waffle, brother. This is the most shameless amount of waffle. You've watched your team get ran through, more than I mean, than Lily Phillips and all them guys there, yeah.
You're sitting there. You're trying to tell me that I should be afraid of City? I mean, like, if I'm not going to win the league, it's not going to be. It's going to be because City come back. It's going to be because I fall apart. Manchester City will have nothing to do with it. I potentially, if I win my game in hand, I'm 15 points clear of you. If I lose that 15-point gap, that's my fault. Even if you win out, even if you win every game from now until the end of the season, that has nothing to do with you. That has to do with the fact that I capitulated, that I lost the league, not you won the league. So I'm not going to speak on the rest of the sentiment of your argument, but to say that the reason why I'm not saying I'm going to win the league is because City are behind me. That's completely disingenuous, because I would have fallen apart and I wouldn't look at City. I'd say you guys are bums dropping 12 points. That's your fault. Simple as.
I completely agree. I completely agree with that. There's a few super chats here. Hamza, name 3 Bruges players. And at 1-0, you was shook. Can you name?
They had that guy called Totsis, whatever, number 8 is dangerous, man. That guy.
Number 8. What's his name?
Totsis.
Number 8.
He used to play for Norwich.
Good. Talk about Liverpool fans posing as underdogs, but Arsenal fans always looking for validation. I don't think it's about Egal looking for validation. I think maybe it's the way I view the world, right? If you give it the big one and say Arsenal are going out in the league phase and they come third, I think at that moment you go, I just think there's a fair play. You did better than I thought. I think that's what I did. Yeah. City's next 6 league fixtures are Arsenal away, Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs away, Forest, Brighton. This will be the acid test for sure. Yeah, if you come out of those games, Hamza, with only say 2 wins, are you going to still have the same confidence you have today?
I need a midfielder. I need that.
That's not my question. If you only come out of it with a couple of wins, will this confidence remain?
Player, I don't want game guy.
That means no. I'm sorry to be because we're running to the end of the show. Just say no. I love you, Hamza. Just answer the question, bro. You're a grown man. Fans say Gabriel, Saliba, and Saka missing. Arsenal will suffer. To me, it's rare. Listen, if Neto has to go and goal for the rest of the season, you guys might end up in 13th. Cheers, my bro. Before we end, I wanted Steve. Obviously, I know you had a few teams playing tonight. Benfica won. Bayern Munich won. I know they won by 3 goals, but I thought they were leaking chances again. Bayern Munich, left, right, and centre. Left, right, and centre.
Against Slovan Bratislava. That's why I don't consider Bayern München amongst the favorites to win, because people overrate the attack. There's not enough in midfield. Pavlovic doesn't play enough. I'm glad he did. Tell played tonight. Tell actually played tonight. I was happy about that, but I don't know. Maybe that was more of a selling sort of thing, but. Yeah, look, happy about that. And then Benfica, Juventus are a complete mess. The squad building during the summer was not good enough. Malta, you can clearly tell he's a rookie at this level. You can tell. They didn't do really much to trouble Benfica tonight. So comfortable win. It was crazy because I thought we'd lose, but yeah, Vlahovic up top again. I keep telling people, Vlahovic, what does he do good? What does he do if he's not scoring? And he doesn't even score that much. He was not really, not impressive. They got a lot of injuries. So Juve for me are not really a threat to this competition at all, to be honest. They're a massive work in process, progress. They're a massive work in progress. But happy overall. But Bayern kind of unconvincing against Slovan Bratislava. It's crazy. But I don't consider Bayern amongst the favorites. I really don't.
No, Bayern are not. No, they looked really it was one of the games out on the screen because I was trying to watch Tell. I didn't really watch too much, to be fair, because I was focusing on the other games. It was too hard.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I didn't like about tonight is it's really hard to focus on all the games. I understand why they've got to do it this way. It's like the end of a league campaign, but it was hard. I had 5 games on, and I could only really watch 2 of them properly. But
I'm surprised mine ain't favourites because Heritage is supposed to carry them through, according to.
That's where
Eric Dyer, Upamecano, and Kim Min-jae are not Heritage. That's the problem.
Jay here says Pep couldn't hack it, so he cried for 250 million euros in January. Ha. Fraud has no legacy without Messi and Middle East oil money.
No, every team gets called out if they don't address the issues in their team because their fans are going to be pissed off. AKA Arsenal fans, they want a striker. When Arsenal continue to not buy a striker, they get called out for lack of ambition, for lack of doing the thing with common sense. Of course, they're going to spend money.
I agree with you, Steve, though. Where this pushback comes from is this. Man United are getting stick because we want to buy another striker. But you've already bought 2. Well, yeah, they're not good enough. So we've got to buy new ones.
Exactly.
Okay. What I would say, though, Steve, this is addressing is you agree with what Pep's doing. What this is addressing are the people that won't criticize Pep for buying more when his current squad isn't good enough, but will criticize Arteta. Why should he get more money to spend? Well, you're giving Pep more money to spend. And some will say, well, Pep's won more trophies. But whether you are successful and win, or your first build fails, or you don't quite get over the edge, the club has still got to keep spending. And I think for me, I've seen Arsenal criticize, well, your club spent 700 million, it shouldn't be spending anymore. And I just think it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. I can argue, I get the argument, don't give manager X any more money, but clubs have to continually keep spending. And I think it frustrates me that certain Arsenal fans used to do it to Man United when Fergie was here. Yeah, but when you guys don't win, you just go and spend more than us. Well, go and spend
obviously.
Go and spend as well. Yeah, I don't hold it against Pep, but we have to have that same energy for every club, for me.
Terry, I think also, with Pep, I think there's been this kind of clamour to see him manage not a top-tier side. So now that his top-tier side is struggling, they're expecting to see him coach his way out of it because he's never going to go and manage a second-tier team who are struggling. So I think that also kind of comes into play with a lot of fans using this kind of City struggle.
I think you can use it for the nitpicking between the greats, as you say. So, for instance, what I was looking to see from Pep, and we never really saw it, was can he, with his squad and the holes in it, find a solution to make them competitive again? No. The solution is, and I'm not against the solution, but the solution was we're going to drop $250 million on new players to improve the situation. And there are other managers, again, and we're nitpicking amongst the greats who have had problems, persevered and gone on to win league titles still, gone on to win Champions Leagues. And there was part of me that wanted to see what Pep would do. And I think the only time it can be held against him is when you're nitpicking between the greatest of all time. However, City as a football club, of course they should be spending, the same as any Arsenal fan that thinks they shouldn't be spending, because always improve your squad. Always
any club.
Always buy better players. Absolutely. I completely agree with it. I completely agree. Was the new format a success or failure? Well, let's wait to the group stage. You know, I like the seeded program. I feel like it rewards. Now, for instance, I don't know how you do it in football. I always feel like with the FA Cup, if you could create a seeded program, and then every year that you're in it, you know, the further you go, the more seeds you get, the easier the home draw. That maybe that you get more home draws, maybe you get lower level teams. It would encourage more teams to keep winning and playing better teams. And I think what this has done this year, up until tonight's games, every match, like, we've got to win it, because theoretically you get an easier. You look at Liverpool's run, barring PSG, they might get. I think they've got very winnable games into the semi-final. You never knew that in the previous format. You could have a great group campaign, but then all your knockout games might be against the best teams in the tournament. And what was the, yes, you've got to get through the group, but you're now being rewarded for winning in the league phase, which I think has made the league phase more entertaining. So, yeah, I quite like it.
It definitely incentivizes teams not to play their second tier, teams. Right. Previously, before when there was less games, what we were having is, within 3 or 4 games, certain teams would have won the group stage, and then they could afford to not play the best players. Whereas nowadays, there's an incentive to keep on playing your best players. So, people who are paying, who are paying for this are getting the best product. They're getting to see, Liverpool, Real Madrid always churn out their best players and come up against better teams as well.
The only thing I'd probably change is slightly less teams so that the Europa League has more quality in it and the Conference League has more quality in it. Because the Conference League this year, when you look at Chelsea are up against, it's a walk in the park for them. It's like taking candy off a baby. I'd probably have slightly less teams in it. It would make it a little bit more exciting. One less round of knockout games maybe, because there's a lot of football. But the concept so far, I quite like.
I love it.
I think it's brilliant.
I think it's a big upgrade over the group stage because Man City and Paris Saint-Germain were genuinely in jeopardy tonight, going into tonight, of being knocked out. In the old format, pretty unlikely unless they were in some sort of group of death.
Yeah, if you imagine you took out 8 teams and then it went straight to the round of 16 and it was like no playoff games and it was like if you don't finish inside the top 16 you're out. What you would have seen, like what would be again, and I'm just thinking outside the box here, what could have made it even better tonight is if PSG and City and all are going out and that's it. I mean, because that would have made it even more exciting. But so I think maybe slightly less teams and then there's no knockout, there's no playoff phase. It's like if you're not in the top 16 you're just out. But they won't do that because they want more games because then there's more money. So
and the games, by the way, are going to be good. The games, by the way, we could have Milan Juve. That's a big game. People will watch that. PSV Feyenoord. I'm watching that. I'm an Eredivisie nut job, so that'll be fun. I mean, PSG Monaco, like, bro, Bayern Munich are going to play Celtic or City. City are going to get one of Bayern or Real Madrid. Dortmund. Sporting CP, like we're gonna get good games in these knockouts, and I'm not gonna complain about more football to watch.
I think what is promised is a guarantee of you're going to get big games regardless. Hypothetically, had all the in previous format, if some of the big teams went out, you might have not seen a Real Madrid come up against, let's say a Liverpool if they played in the group stage or whoever. You wouldn't have got those type of games. Whereas nowadays you're always guaranteed. Arsenal played Inter. Like there's always going to be these type of big games throughout the group stage. So fans feel rewarded or feel like, they've got to see, the head-to-head between Europe's elite, whereas that was only kind of guaranteed whether if both teams qualify to the round of 16 and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. This comment here says spending more does not mean spending wisely. That's also true. I totally agree with you. And if they spend this 250 mil, and it ends up being rubbish. Again, that's more on the sporting directors. But then, what would be really interesting is if all this money City spend doesn't make them any better, which is also, which again, it goes into the. I don't think it ruins Pep's legacy. I think it becomes something you nitpick when separating the best of the best of the best right at the top, as opposed to. I don't think Pep will ever be seen as a fraud by true football fans. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Nathan, Steve, and everyone else that was on the panel tonight. Thank you to all of our super chatters. You're brilliant. We're back tomorrow with more content, including the top 6 show, and then a similar match reaction for the Europa League conclusion that happens tomorrow night as well. Until next time, people, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.